Here's the time for taking you another episode of Tech Time. Today, we are talking about a success story, about a dynamic person who has taken a journey for challenging all the system and herself and bringing out and reaching where she has. Yes, I'm talking about the founder, the CEO, and the very, very beautiful Raj Karan. Welcome to my show.
What a tremendous introduction. You're an absolute sweetheart. I'm very blessed to be here and I'm excited about the opportunity to sit here and chat with you.
Thank you very much. Raj, words are really very small to express the journey you have been through. I feel like you were one of the people who understood the dynamics of how we South Asians live in abroad in the countries, Western countries, and what contribution can we do. So let's talk about your journey. How would you like to take our viewers hand in hand with step by step where you are now?
Oh my gosh. Ask me a question. That's a huge journey that I've had over the last few decades of my life. Well, I will tell you one thing. A big part of the reason why I decided that, the mandate with Anoki Media was so important to me was because I was actually on the other side of the experience. Being born and brought up in England, on one side, inside my home, I had the very traditional cultural upbringing. And then outside my home, everything was the opposite, the polar opposite. Everything was liberated. You literally, it was all about exploring your journey as a teenager. So when you have the juxtaposition of these two different ideologies that you're facing, and you're going through kind of puberty and that whole kind of experience of, going from being a child to a grown-up, it becomes an incredibly challenging space to be. And I think the hardest thing, and I think this is something, especially in the West, that our community, especially our women, can relate to, is just the notion of identity, right? I mean, who am I? What do I represent? What are the ideologies that I should be garnering? The experience of my life. How should I construct, the journey of what my existence needs to mean to me? Right? So all of these questions were what I was challenged with when I was growing up. Because of that, and the other thing was that there really wasn't anyone that looked like me, right, on TV, in magazines, on radio. Nobody was talking about the experiences of what my culture meant to me and how I was growing up in the home environment, right? If you didn't fit within the mainstream British society and their rules, then you were taken, you were looked at as a second-class citizen. Every day I would go through, phases like you're a Paki, and we ruled your country, and I had to face those kinds of things. So I felt that because there was no resource for me to tap into, I knew that one day I needed to be a part of that journey for our community, to provide a resource through which they can actually talk about and voice the experiences that they're going through in these two juxtapositions of, cultures and communities that they were being brought up in, to hopefully find a place where both of them could find a unity of identity, and that identity could be more of a global expression on how the human experience and the human journey truly should be about. And that culture should, and society and, all of these things should help contribute to what that identity is, rather than the other way around. So that's really what Anoki Media was created out of, is the platform to be able to voice this new identity that people weren't recognizing and still looking at as being very secular. Either you're here or you're there. I believe that I'm in both. So why can that identity not be a point of discussion?
I would like to comment here that actually you were ahead of your time to take the decisions, certain decisions which now we are as a society pondering upon, because the generation you belong to has grown up and they have well integrated and they have understood the two different dimension of the social system and the network we are working in. And that does not mean that we are lacking something. It's just the understanding of human beings as human beings, because we all have mind. So let's come back to your journey towards Anokhi. So Anokhi, we are going to celebrate the 13th anniversary of Anokhi. So 13 hard years, but I would say very well complemented and very well achieved years. So let's start your journey from Anokhi, the magazine, to Anokhi, the media, and where it is now with so many different dimensions. How this Anokhi becomes so Anokhi that it's so popular.
Oh, you're so lovely with your words. I thank you for that. I thank you for your blessing there. Really, it came out of the frustration of what happened with me was that, I got divorced when I was 30. And a part of that journey for me was to try and re-identify who I needed to be as a woman, because prior to that, I was someone's daughter, someone's sister, someone's wife, someone's mother. So I didn't really know who I was. So I feel a part of the journey for me was to just go out there, once I got divorced, and kind of figure out me. A part of that experience for me was I stumbled across a gentleman called Jake Deere. And he actually said, Raj, why don't you, come and, experience a bit of the media world, because I think you would be great in that. So that kind of led me into the world of media. It was really interesting though, because, even though I, volunteered at various different, areas and different types of media, those media that weren't South Asian that I participated in always kind of threw me into the South Asian story, because by default of the fact that I was Indian, they assumed that, I would know how to tell that story. Obviously, I know how to tell that story because I've lived it, right? As have you. But then when you bring that story back and their ideology behind who they perceive us to be being different to what I know we are, I felt a huge kind of disconnect, right? A huge kind of gap there that I felt needed to be filled. Anokhi was born out of the frustration of there not being a media entity at that time in the early 2000s that truly allowed people to talk about this identity that we were talking about, this duality in which I was brought up in, and which many of our second, third, and fourth generations are born in within our culture, but also all the other cultures that migrate to the Western world, right? We have a similar kind of dichotomy that we experience. So, in my infinite ignorance or wisdom or whatever you want to call it, I decided that I wanted to provide a platform through which my community could voice their global, identity, right? And I felt that because there was nothing like that out there at that time, that it was quite a unique, enterprise. Unique in Hindi means Anokhi. So that's how the name came about, is that this was going to be a unique platform, a unique media, a unique mindset through which we can express, our journey through the globalization of, the human experience. That's what I was hoping to accomplish with Anokhi. At that time, I felt that a magazine was the way to go, because it was the single one item that you could actually hold in your hand. So it wasn't like, watching TV or, seeing a newspaper, because once that's done, you're done with it. Magazine had a little bit more of kind of that keepsake element. And it also allowed me to be as diverse as possible. Like I could talk about everything in the pages of that magazine, and as deeply or not as I wanted to. So that's why Anokhi magazine was kind of the first phase of our, expression of this global community that we were looking into. That then led into doing events purely to kind of market, this new identity, and to tell people out there that anyone that fits within this community that we're representing are welcome to participate. So it kind of, as that community grew, parallel journey, we grew. So it kind of told me that, you know, there has to be some relevance to what we created, because there's a community out there that's finding us, right? That then, you know, just basically went into us focusing on industries that perhaps our community didn't focus so much on, you know, glamour, fashion, entertainment, music, you know, entrepreneurship, and more that, rather than your typical corporate careers that, you know, a lot of us grew up into, you know, doing.
So many people do not know that you are a dental hygienist by professional initially.
Yes.
So how come this connection? I think beauty was your main focus since from the very beginning.
Yes.
That you started from dental, because when you smile is the biggest thing. When we see anybody's face, we notice that.
Yes.
So how would you take on that?
Well, you know, I had an arranged marriage, which is what brought me actually to Canada initially in the early 1990s. And the individual that I married was a dentist. So, you know, fresh out of school and everything, and me coming from an entrepreneurial background, my parents used to buy and sell businesses. So I had kind of that ideology that if you're going to do something, if you're going to put effort into, you know, monetizing something, that you should own it. That was kind of the ideology I came from. So my husband at that time was a dentist, and he used to work for someone. And, you know, so we had this notion that we need to open up our own practice, but it needs to have an experience associated with it in order for it to not just be a service providing model. There needed to be an experience providing model, right? Because that's kind of where I come from with my entrepreneurial thought process. If you've got 100 dental offices, why mine, right? So that's kind of how I think about things. And I think about Anoki in a parallel way. You know, with so much media out there, what is the point of difference that mine offers that will people know that by default, this is where they need to go for this, right? And that's all a part and parcel of the branding of business, right?
Actually, the thing is, as we see, the more and more the community is getting into diversion and into a very global mind, it's very important to convey to the right people that the world has changed.
Yes.
The dynamics has changed. And that's my point of view also. That's why we are into the media also, that there is a huge need for bridging. So when you come to that bridging, I feel like you are having the similar journey of doing the bridging by introducing the different artists through. So what are your difficulties? Because it's very challenging. It's not very easy because the mindset still, no matter how much we try to have global mind, there are certain learnings through certain cultures. So what's your take on that?
That's really interesting, because I actually really feel, I need you to kind of ask me that question again, because that was a huge question.
I was thinking that since there is a lot of need for bridging the gaps between different communities, and understanding that the global mind is more important than anything else.
Right.
And on the top of it, it's very difficult to introduce our own artists who are having a certain mindset regardless of their global mind, global thinking. So how do you overcome those difficulties?
You know, and that's a really, really important question that you've asked, and one that I think that people are still trying to figure out. And let me give you an example of that. The bridging gaps part of it is something that we all know needs to happen. There's a huge gap, right? How do we make that happen? So there's so many dynamics that need to come into play. One is from an artist's perspective, and this is where the world I live in, so this is my experience. So this is how I'm going to answer your question. From an artist's perspective, they need to have an expression of globalization in terms of the kind of art form they have. So for example, if it's very, very tightly niche, right, there's only going to be a very, very tight niche that, you know, community that's going to go after that. Then you take a look at someone like Priyanka Chopra, right? It's a perfect example of bridging the gaps, right? Somebody that is, I feel, is truly a global, is an example of the global South Asian, right? Because even though she's very, very secure in who she is as an Indian woman, right? She also recognizes that there's a part of her that's very Western because she went through her teenage years in America, right? So she identifies with both cultures. So when you take the artist, someone like Priyanka Chopra, and then you think about the business associated with that, right? The bridging of the gaps from a business perspective is what actually allows someone like her to be able to represent us artistically from a global perspective. So for example, she's on Quantico, as we know, right? Which is an ABC network product. The only reason that works for ABC, and I'm probably going to get blasted for saying this, right, is because they know that Priyanka Chopra has this huge India play with the amount of people that support who she is. So ABC wants a piece of India. Everybody does. You know, Facebook, Huffington Post all have their India versions, right, of their entities in India. Everybody wants to find a way to bridge their gap to get a piece of the India play. So ABC would be no different. So what's so special about Priyanka Chopra in this instance, right, where she could pretty much be any actress? Why was it Priyanka Chopra? If you think about it very, very clearly, it's because she had a massive following in India. So now all of a sudden she becomes a valuable commodity to put in this show, to allow this show to simultaneously be cast in India, which is exactly what they did, right? So so these are the ways that the business and the artistic world can find ways to bridge a gap to be able to enter each other's markets. Yeah. So it's actually a kind of a complicated answer to your question, but these are the kinds of things that you have to think about. What is the commodity, right? And unfortunate or as fortunate as you may look at it, at the end of the day, every single thing in life is considered a commodity, right? Our parents in an arranged marriage want us to marry this man because of X, Y, and Z. We want to, have this in our life because of X, Y, and Z. Everything is associated with a commodity. And that, I think, is the thing that a lot of people shy away from admitting in their life. That, that it's all about the value proposition. What is the value proposition for you to get up and out of bed in the morning?
That is so very true. You have very well explained that we all have to realize as an individual which is our potential also. That potential and how we value and accelerate those potential, which is used as a commodity, as a value into the system. So coming back to your Anokhi Media, this is your last year's coffee table book.
Yes.
And I see that this year this was given to everybody last year.
As a gift at the award show. Yes.
So you're going to have, let's talk about your award show now.
Yes.
A little bit, what are the dynamics, how people can approach you, is this possible or not possible?
Absolutely.
And all the details.
Well, the whole purpose of the award show for me is celebrating obviously another year of Anokhi, but another year of the success story of our community regionally, nationally and internationally in the sphere of what Anokhi represents, right? So we feel that the stories of our lives, right, need to be carved into history. In order for them to be carved into history and for us not to be forgotten, they need to be written down, right? That's the purpose of the coffee table book. And what we do with it is 30 people each year from Canada, the US, the UK and India in glamour, entertainment, media, business and crusadership are chosen, nominated, and they are recognized in this keepsake, which is our written version of making their stories always remembered. From that, the certain personalities from that then are participated in our anniversary event. And that's happening Thursday, August the 25th in Toronto at 11 Paulson Street. getting involved in it. There's many different ways. We have a lot of people that come on board from a sponsorship perspective because they want to attach their brands to, you know, a glamorous star-studded event, of course. And the other thing is that people can actually come and enjoy it as a guest. To do that, all you have to do is go to our website, anokimedia.com, and you'll see a banner at the top that will click through to where you can actually purchase tickets.
Sure. So you have accomplished so big task, and you have not only have a vision, but you have understood the social networking and the social addressing properly to the people where it needs to be. So what are your goals for future, and what will you like our viewers to see, look forward?
I think really I hope that what I do with Anoki Media inspires people to feel that there are resources out there, that there are communities out there that support your freedom to experience your best life, right? That's what I hope. That's why what I talk about are the kinds of careers that people really haven't supported in our community so much. And it's really quite tragic, because if you go back hundreds of years, you go back even into the thousands of years, our community was so artistically rich. And it was important to have that learning as part of your growth and your experience in life. Then all of a sudden, around the British Raj time, until recently, all of a sudden, you know, these artistic expressions that we grew up with were not valued anymore. And that became a part of how people like you and I grew up. You know, if you're not a dentist, doctor, lawyer, if you don't marry at a certain age, if you don't rear children to also be dentists, doctors and lawyers, right, you have not been successful. So I hope through what we do that there is a resurgence of remembrance of who we are historically speaking as a community. And that is a 360 approach to experience every aspect of life. That there is no, you know, one way of living that is more important than the other. And all aspects of what we have created as a community over thousands of years, right, should not be forgotten.
True, you're very true. I agree with you. Before we end the show, I would like to talk about the moment in your life, in your journey, where you felt like that this difficulty is so huge, I'm fed up and I'm going to leave. And the moment of joy, where you, out of a bloom, you said, oh my gosh, I'm going to continue and I'm heading towards the right direction. Two most important moments in your career.
Well, that moment of, you know, I can't do this anymore, for me has only ever come once in my life. And it was the deciding fork in the road for me to actually then be able to answer the second part of that question. And that was when I realized that I actually wasn't happy. That every day that I woke up, I felt depressed. That I wasn't happy. Right? And I had no idea how I was going to change that dynamic into happiness, right? So once I recognized that I actually do not accept that my life should be an unhappy one, did I actually start seeking for ways in which I can make myself happy? Part of that for me, and so that was the fork for me, right there. Now, a lot of people, whether they're in our community, whether they are men or women, or whether they're anywhere else in the world, right? Everybody comes to that fork in their life. Some people are resigned to, I'm okay with this life because the fear of the unknown is too great for me. At least I know this unhappiness. I know how to live in unhappiness, right? So most of the world kind of lives there. Then there's some of us that say, I don't really know what's on the other side of that cliff, right? But all I know is that it's got to be greater than what I'm living today. right? It's got to be greater, because to live in unhappiness is not a place that we should be living in. It's not what Guru Nanak taught us. It's not what Jesus Christ taught us. It's not what Buddha taught us, right? We were always taught to find the identity, and this brings us back to the beginning of our interview, the identity that defines who we are. And I feel a huge part of that, the nucleus of that, is finding a place where you can be at peace and be happy with who you are. Everyone has a different definition of that. For me, it was to give something back to the world, and as something that I felt would help people find within themselves a place where they can find greatness for themselves, and that individuals then will become collectives, and then the mindset within the world, and this is like so idealistic, but it's what I believe in, right? That the mindset within the world, the energy of negativity that we've created, hopefully will be uplifted, and we'll all be living a life that we truly have the courage to live.
Sure. Your talk and my talk will be endless, and unfortunately we have the limit of time. So I thank you very much for sharing your such a tremendous story with so much provocation to pursue what we want to. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Viewers, we are living into a country which offers so much. Every individual is important. This is the first lesson we learn when we land to the country of Canada. Individualism, it has a positive aspect, and that positive aspect shows that once you start living with yourself, you're discovering yourself, you start knowing the potential in you, you're a better contributor into the society. Sky is the limit. Anokhi Media, Anokhi herself, as she said, unique, Anokha, different. It does not mean that you are incapable. That means you're a true person. When you are Anokha, you're different. You are an individual who need to participate your shade into this huge world. That is what is the lesson we all need to learn. The problem comes when we take social system as everybody else is taking, and forgetting that everybody has a different thinking, different blessings, different contributions to put into. We are living in a global world with a global mind, that is for sure. But each and every individual has something to contribute. The success story, the success journey might be longer, might be difficult, might be fearsome. But in the end of the day, do you realize that what you had, you honestly contributed? With these words, think over again about yourself and your contribution. Thank you for watching my show.
#1 multicultural channel. This is TAG TV.